Disclaimer: the contents of this podcast do not constitute medical or professional advice and do not reflect the opinions of the affiliates, promotional sponsors, or partners or advertising agencies, and only reflects the opinions of the members and guests. This podcast contains explicit content and offends everyone equally. VTSR expressly disclaims any and all liability relating to any actions taken or not taken based on any or all contents of this podcast. We disclaim any responsibility. Listen at your own risk. Main sponsors: Nous Defions Group LLC for all your training, consulting, and special operations solutions needs for military, law enforcement, and private clients. Uptown Auto Glass for all your glass needs located in Columbus, Georgia.
Sing it with me. Those that have come and gone. Sing it with me. Those left to carry on. Raise your voices high. Those who serve and those who die. Raise your voices high. And sing a gunfighter lullaby.
Take it away, JP.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Veterans Transition Support Recon Show, VTSR.
Thanks for that intro, JP. Welcome back to this portion of VTSR. With me is Mike Rude. Now, just so you guys know, I have been misidentified very much in the world as a badass. I am absolutely not, but I'm sitting beside somebody that I know is a badass and that I classify as a badass.
I wouldn't say that, but...
Well, so my opinion is that you are, because a quick history is you were in the 3rd Battalion. I was in the 3rd Battalion. I think you were a corporal at the time, becoming master corporal.
Yeah.
I was a dumbass private just coming out of battle school. Yeah. And then we kind of crossed paths in Bravo Company, which was Mountain Company.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Going through Bravo Company together. And
yeah.
Well, a lot of guys, that's why I spent a lot of my time was in B Company.
Yeah, even though you were a jumper and came from the Airborne Regiment, you were a mountain guy, which is really cool, because those that don't know is when the Airborne Regiment was shelved, I guess.
Yeah.
The 3rd Battalions were stood up as the new place for you guys.
Yeah.
And then we get guys like myself coming in. So this would be a mentoring ship. So Mike was one of my, we called you the sensei.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when the regiment was disbanded, it was broken up by the 3 regiments that served within it. Right, RCR, Van Duys.
Broken up.
So each regiment had their own soldiers that went to the Airborne.
Yes.
So when we were disbanded, that, say, company of troops went back to each of the battalions, or formed a parachute company.
Yes.
And within a year, then they reformed the 3rd battalions of each of the regiments.
Yes.
So in what I think is fantastic of what happened, actually, is that all the airborne guys, so they stood the 3rd battalion up around the airborne guys.
Yes.
The airborne guys came there with an attitude of, nothing can stop us, right, with the airborne mentality. And I feel that even guys that didn't do the jump course within the 3rd battalions, they have that attitude. They have that, so all that was kind of transferred to all the guys that served in the 3rd, right?
That was the end.
Yeah, so, I mean, guys like Rob Furlong, right? I mean,
he was in my section at one point, yeah.
So, I mean, you've got these guys that, and Rob Furlong is the one that pointed it out to me, saying it was the guys, the core of airborne guys that created the battalion and then really made it a special place, I think. And I think that's why the 3rd battalions are as good as they are. Right?
Oh yeah, that energy definitely 20-something years later is still there.
Yeah.
And for me, getting into that unit, we felt it because coming through battle school, we had Mark Leger and Ragsdale and those guys in the 2ICs.
Yeah.
So that energy came from them, and then it transferred over to the battalion and that lifestyle. So before we started filming, you were like, dude, you're a busy guy, you got lots on the go. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's just the way I was grown. That's the way I was raised, is to do lots of stuff. And you're right, even though we weren't all jumpers right away in the battalion, Charlie Company, Bravo Company, those guys, even the guys in Transport and Administration Company had this oomph to them that you didn't see anywhere else.
Yeah.
So,
I think awesome battalions, right?
Oh, yeah. Even the Van Du's 3rd Battalion, I've worked with them a little bit, and they're all right. But the energy is definitely there because it transferred from that.
Yeah.
So, which, when we look at it, your energy from the Airborne Regiment came from the original Devil's Brigade offshoot guys as well, too, right?
Yeah,
Like,
pretty much.
it's all this standing on the backs of giants.
Yeah, learning from, legends, if you would, right? That it just being passed on. I mean, and I've had the, I've been fortunate I've met and became good friends with a one-can para guy, Dan Hardigan, who's actually originally from Sydney Mines, I believe.
Okay.
So that was, hearing their stories. I read his book. His best friend was a guy named Swim from Lockport.
Okay.
They used to call him Sink or Swim, right? But learning from all those people and seeing the same mentality, right? That it's a special thing, I think. Eh?
It really is. And right now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm having, like, since when we ran into each other on Monday and planned this for today, I've had flashbacks. I've had the stirring memories, and I've been brought back to that. And just sitting beside you now, I can feel that, like, I kind of want to be back there doing that again. And the nostalgia.
Same for me.
Yeah, it's
completely.
It's like we miss, and the thing that comes up for me is that I look back and I'm like, oh man, I could do so much better now because I've learned so much more and I could be so better. But we can't really look back at it that way. We have to look at what's ahead of us and what's coming up, which brings us to what you're doing now. Taking that same energy and mantra, I think that's the right word I want to use, is mantra from that lifestyle and that essence to where you're going now. And I get asked a lot by people, they're like, well, you're retired now, why don't you just quit? Well, it's not in us. And for me, my foundations and my stuff is, I always go back to the mission's not over till the troops are safe. And the troops aren't safe at home right now, are they?
Yeah, you know what? Not at all, right? Because if people don't know what everything's coming from, right? What are their symptoms, right?
Yeah.
So we can sit there and say, I got PTSD, and then people will say to themselves, well, geez, these other things should be on the list too, because that's part of my PTSD. Yeah. But it's actually mefloquine poisoning, right? And it's symptoms from that. And that's how it's all going to get convoluted, and you're going to have PTSD, traumatic brain injury, and mefloquine poisoning all wrapped into one big thing, and you don't know which symptom is coming from which thing, right?
Yeah.
So that I find very, not very safe, and that's, you asked me when, when do you see this stopping or whatever, but I don't know. I'm not sure, right?
Yeah,
because of the safety thing, right? People aren't safe. They need to know, and if they're not being treated for the right thing, then they're at risk.
Exactly.
And that's what I think where everybody's at right now. A lot of people.
Okay, so for you, you're on this mission because in the third, when we talk about that energy there, it's lead, follower, get the fuck out of the way. Right?
Yeah.
Right? Like that at the core of it, that was something that we heard every day. It was part of our energy, and we provided that leadership by going and teaching courses to other nations or developing, other units inside the forces. But that was the way: lead, follower, get the fuck out of the way. And right now, there isn't many people leading this charge. So you see this need, and you're providing that leadership that you have ingrained in you, and that's why you're still going. And that's why. When we get out as veterans, we still do have this energy that hasn't been expired. So we're the Energizer Bunny, but we have a mission. And your mission is awareness for this mefloquine poisoning.
Yes.
Because when you talk about unboxing it and getting the actual details, I know there's days where I'll sit there and go, something's off. something is totally off.
Yeah,
you know,
completely.
And
That's-
you're scrambling through your mind. You're like, okay, I can either just embrace that this is a bad feeling and just wallow in it, or I can identify what it is and prevent it or be aware of what's going to happen next time it comes up and not let it consume me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for you, what has been the biggest struggle doing this awareness campaign?
Just really, it's like trying to organize myself, right? When I first started this trip, like on the 8th of April 2019, I was doing everything on my own, right? So I was taking messages on Messenger, emails,
Yeah.
text messages, phone calls, trying to figure out where I was staying tomorrow night. And, so I'd try to plan 3 days ahead, plus then I had my medications. So all my medications, so in order to keep myself safe,
Yeah.
I only take 2 weeks worth of medication, right? Pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
So I only get 2 weeks at a time because I've attempted twice
Okay.
taking pills, right?
Yeah.
So I only take 2 weeks at a time. So I mean, then I'm trying to, so every 12th day I was trying to figure out where I'm going to get my meds,
Yeah.
right? So I got to stop, and because I need to get it in blister packs, I won't get it in a pill bottle.
Yeah, it's
right?
easier to track.
And it's easier to track, and also it's safer because then, the time it takes to pop everything out of the bubble or whatever, right, that it just gives you a little bit of extra safety.
Syncing with room.
Yeah.
Processing, right?
So the start of it was very difficult. And then by the time I finally got to see my family, probably 3 months later,
Yeah.
they end up starting to cover off on the checking my messages,
Okay.
and then they were helping me organize myself and say, check this message, check that one. Somebody called from this, somebody for
The
that,
team was
right?
starting to develop.
Yeah, and starting to develop, and then I, went to Victoria, and Debbie Ferguson with Delta Foxtrot Designs
Yeah.
helped me launch my web page. And along with Genevieve Primo, she was helping as well, then developed the patch.
Okay.
It's all been a slow process, but I've slowly been kind of gathering, or, people joining in and helping, and which has made it easier for me to function.
Okay.
So sometimes, events can be half planned, and then I just have to show up, which makes it a whole lot easier, right?
Yeah.
But
Which is, because you're doing all the driving. You and Spark
Yeah.
are running the roads.
Yeah.
You're linking up with people. Now let's take a step back a little bit. We've talked about the 3rd Battalion. We talked about the airborne. How old were you when you got in?
I was 18,
Okay.
a couple months before my 19th birthday, but 6 months after school I was in the Army. Went to the 1st Battalion for like a year and a half, about whatever. Did my jump course,
Yeah.
went to the Airborne Regiment in summer of 90. So I got in January 88, was in the Airborne Regiment by 90, and then spent 5 years with them.
Okay.
Got disbanded, went to the para company,
Yeah.
formed the 3rd Battalion. I never served in a school or
No.
nothing. I became a mountain ops instructor,
Yes.
so I taught 3 or 4 of the mountain ops instructor courses, and that runs like the last course I taught, I think, was probably 135 days of training,
Yeah.
or 135 days long,
Okay.
right, over the course of the summer.
Yeah.
When I did my course, it was 89 days long. Every day was a work day.
Yeah.
It was 7 days a week. It was from 5:30 in the morning till 9 at night, and I still found time to go to the bar.
Yep. There's
So-
always a way. There's
Yeah.
always a way. Oh, that's awesome. And then when you retired, that transition was a challenge, wasn't it?
Like say, towards the end of my career, so I was in the 3rd Battalion. I ended up going to work at the PPCLI, the Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry formed a regimental veterans care cell.
Okay.
Right? And that was to look after any soldier that was injured in a PPCLI battle group.
Okay.
So if you were a reservist attached to a PPCLI battle group, we followed you.
Nice.
If you were came from wherever else, we tracked you, right? So in that job, I went and met with Trevor Green.
Okay.
I went to Ontario, flew to Ontario, met with some injured guys there. So I got a bit of a passion there. And
So that's where it started, the taste of it.
but when I was working there, I knew one of the guys with OSIS,
Okay.
with the Operational Stress Injury Clinic, right? So I was doing some stuff with them, and I was looking at the little, do you have PTSD kind of thing?
Yeah.
And it's like check, check, check. Well, maybe not, but check.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's like, wow, maybe I got it, right? And that was the only thing I thought, but I tried to organize a few things with OSIS and our RVC cell, and so that was really the start. And then I moved to Newfoundland in 2010.
Okay.
So I retired from the Reg Force, joined the reserves.
Okay.
So as a Canadian Ranger instructor,
Oh, nice.
and then so I went out there for I did 4 years with them.
Okay.
And then that was it. I finally shut her down.
Yeah.
Because, so when I first got to Newfoundland, the first couple years, the PTSD was developing in me,
Yes.
if you would, right? If you want to call it that, right? So,
It was kind of surfacing.
yeah, so that was my first thought, right, is more so PTSD. And, I mentioned it to my spouse at the time. I said, I think I got PTSD. But anyways, going along, getting worse. I was on category then.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, I want to get off category. I want to, I want to get back into my career,
That would
right?
be
Like,
fit, yeah.
try to get back into it. And then in June of 2014, it was like, nope, that's it. I surrender. I'm out. I'm done, right? And I went to the base doctor and said, I can't do it anymore, right? So they placed me on reserve force compensation for 2 years, and then I was released in 2016.
Okay.
So, like, what was I going to say? 2015, roughly, John Dow had contacted me
Okay.
to talk to me about the mefloquine.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there, 14, 15. But, and, because I took mefloquine in Somalia as part of a drug trial, right, that I didn't know was a drug trial.
Yeah, we're guinea pigs.
Yeah, so he wanted me to be part of it to get along, because I knew a lot of people. We could network better and stuff like that. So I was involved for the first 6 months, kind of. Emails flowing like crazy between Dr. Nevin and John Dow, and then it was just too much. And at that time I was, just sitting at home staring out the window, that's it, that's all I did, right?
Yeah.
Sort of. So I gave it up then, and then in 2018, I joined the old lawsuit,
Okay.
and that was quickly ended in December or something. And then in January of 2019, the new lawsuit started with Howie Saxon Henry.
Okay.
So I put my name in for that. And then in March, they had called me and said, we have you narrowed down to one of 11 that we want to file the first cases with.
Okay.
And then in April, they filed my case along with 7 others.
Okay.
So there was 8 then. But the original thing that really got me, and that was it, like on the 7th of April, was a hard day. I was trying to put out Facebook messages to try to nail every person I thought took mefloquine, right?
Yeah.
So I tried to do the Somalia group.
Yeah.
So I had, geez, I forget what the number is, but if you tag too many people, then it becomes spam.
Yeah.
So then you can't send it.
Even if it's legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like 2 hours of putting this together with 180 names. Go to post it, and it just went
Yeah.
gone. And then I'm like, what the heck just happened? So then I spent 2 hours again doing it again.
Yeah.
Puff, gone again, right? So the third time, 2 hours, this time I copied it.
There you go.
Right? I saved it. I hit post, and when it came up with the kind of flashed a thing and said spam, if it's over 99 people, it's treated as spam. So then I'm like, okay. So then I broke it down to like 50 and 50 and 50,
Yeah.
right?
It's like that first time you get a task for the sergeant major and you're using Excel and you're like, what the hell is Excel?
Yeah, yeah.
It's frustrating.
But yeah, so I did that, and then I sent out one to all the people I think served in Afghanistan,
Okay.
or other people that I thought took it, right?
Yeah.
To kind of just separate it into the two groups, right? But
tracking wise and
yeah.
awareness, yeah.
So, but anyways, that Monday morning at 4 a.m, I decided that's it. I'm not safe anymore. I need to find out what's wrong with me,
Yeah.
right? Because for 2 years I was seeing a psychologist, and to me it felt like I was getting worse, right?
Yeah.
I stayed in the basement, right? Or I'd be in the basement all the time, go for a walk, that's it. I never traveled anywhere further probably than 15 minutes in my truck, right?
Yeah.
Unless I was with somebody else. So I didn't even, later in January, I think I drove once, like 3 hours, and I was like, hey, I did, it was like an accomplishment.
Yeah.
I drove all that way by myself. And anyways, so that at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then it was like, no, saying don't go, fine, I won't, whatever, but I want to find out what's wrong with me. So I want to fly out to a town hall meeting.
Okay.
They didn't want to do that, so said, no, you don't need to do that. And I said, okay, fine, I won't. And at 8 o'clock, I left.
Yeah.
And I left, and I had no reservation for the ferry. You're supposed to have 48 hours notice.
Okay.
The last time I had taken the ferry was to go over for Remembrance Day, and I had problems with my service dog.
Okay.
So as I was driving there, for one, I was like, okay, what do I do if I can't get on the boat?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll drive back 3 hours and go to the airport, right?
Yeah.
So there I got my plan. An hour and a half down the road, my ex called me and said, what are you doing? I said, I'm on my way to the ferry. I'm going to find out what's wrong with me. And she hung up, right? And that was the last time I spoke to her.
Okay.
But, because when I was stationary, I wasn't functioning at all. I had no focus, no nothing. I had nothing to even, a means to get rid of this anxiety or grounding. Yeah, no grounding. So, anyways, I got to the ferry. They let me on,
Okay.
right? There wasn't many people, and they're like, yeah, okay. And I was even late getting there, and they still let me on. So it was nice. And then when I was on the ferry, I called John Dow, and I spoke to him. And he's like, this is on the 8th of April. And he's like, on the 27th of April is when the town hall meeting is. And I'm like, okay, I needed at least a week to get there, but I don't need 3 weeks. Now I'm early. So I'm like, whatever, right? And I didn't really know exactly what I was doing at that time yet either, right? But
You're still marking your map.
yeah, and so I worked my way to go see the lawyers and John Dow and everything. But the thing that launched me, if you would, is suicidal ideation, right? Every time I have a problem, if it's a big problem, my first thought is, fuck it, I'm done, right? I've come up with a million different ways, or I've, thought of all kinds, right? I had one, and I don't know, when I'm triggered, it's like I'm not even,
It's not even really you.
not even really me. And that is just like, I got all wrapped out of my, I got all triggered one time and thought the police were trying to, because I had a problem in the Cornerbrook Mall with Spark, right?
Yeah.
With the service dog, where I was kicked out, and I complained to the police, and they didn't do nothing, right? But so then, anyways, I was talking to somebody else, and they were trying to say, "Oh, I think maybe the police are just trying to say that she's not a service dog." And then I just went. I grabbed her vest and I tucked it under my jacket, and I walked away from my house as if I'm going for a walk. But I walked down to the police station, put her vest on, then went in. But as I was walking down, I looked up at the telephone pole and said, you know what I could do? I'll grab my crampons.
Yeah.
I'll grab a rope and I'll fucking string myself up from the telephone pole, right? That's what went through my head as I walked down, and then I go inside, and I just start like talking to the lady at the thing, going on talking like a madman.
Yeah.
Right, really, kind of like I wasn't making sense. And as I'm kind of talking, it's like, okay, you're sounding crazy now, right? And I said, okay, all right, sorry, whatever, and I left. And I walked home or whatever, but because just like that, a switch goes, and then it's like, I don't know, crazy train.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. It just takes.
Or that's how it feels, right? Because it's just like the brain goes into a loop, and that's the spinning part, right? And it's trying to stop that loop.
It's trying to find something to hold on to justify it.
Yeah.
For me, when I was going through my release, it was not something I wanted to do. And I'm relating this to what you just said, is horrific divorce, massive injuries, shattered bones in my body that were misdiagnosed from when I was a private, and the pain and all the other stuff with deployments and shit. So finally it was like, look, you're unfit. We're going to put you in this group over here for the next 5 years, and you're going to format memory sticks. And I did that for like a month, and I'm like, I'm going to fucking die.
Yeah.
If this is all my career amounts to at the end, is me formatting memory sticks, what the fuck? Like, what a waste. What a waste of me. And you hit that spiral. And when I went to mental health, I'm like, hey, there's more going on than just these physical injuries, because I want to know. And they're like, well, here's a book called Change Your Mind, Change Your Mood.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, a workbook.
Yeah.
So, yeah, self-talk and all those things are good. But when there's something absolutely wrong at the core, just saying, I don't feel like smiling today, I'm going to make myself smile, doesn't always cut it, does it?
No, I wouldn't say, but yeah, no.
So I'm happy that you didn't commit to those ideas.
Yeah.
I'm happy that you have committed to this march and this energy. I think you're finding more about yourself and your own strengths. Actually, is what it means and where do you hope to go. It's definitely not something that's going to be done overnight.
No.
And when the settlement is done, that's going to be kind of an interesting moment for you, isn't it?
That's going to be a mixed bag of emotions, I think.
Yeah.
I'm, that'll be a decision time too, right?
Okay.
Am I stopping now, or am I going to carry on because partly since I've been traveling, if you would, I've kind of actually functioned a bit better because I have focus, right? So I'm focusing on, I need to get the message out there, so it kind of gives me enough to keep going,
Yes.
just working on going, right?
It's a task and purpose.
Yeah, just it occupies my mind, right? So I'm organizing, okay, tomorrow, I haven't got tomorrow solved yet, but, right, it's working those things together, right?
Okay.
And because otherwise, if I'm sitting at home and unless I have a kind of a routine, and I was trying the last lockup, March and April.
Yeah.
Every day I tried to create a routine and I couldn't get into one because I'd be like, well, I got to go here today. That's out of my routine. I can't start a routine then. A routine's got to be exactly the same every day.
Yeah.
And it almost like it just kept me tumbling, right?
Yeah.
In the dryer, kind of like trying to sort myself out, and I couldn't. And that's why even so soon as I had an opportunity for something to occupy my time, like the Veterans Association Food Bank in Calgary, I was there, right?
Yeah.
I needed something to occupy my mind with, right? Because I was having a really hard time for those 2 months.
Yeah.
Right?
It was a challenge, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's a mental challenge completely, right? I mean, for the virus, it's going to be the mental health that'll kill me before the virus.
Oh,
right?
and that's the sad truth about it. And then when we look at what is going on in the world right now, and I joke about it, but I'm so serious, is you get an idea of what we live through with that 2 months, because that is literally how we feel all the time. And when our task and purpose has been taken away from us. And that's the difference between people that choose to serve and those that just go do their own thing. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just saying that those are what we choose to do. And when we choose to serve, it's because we want to be of service. And when we don't have that ability to have that routine and have that structure and serve and be out there helping and contributing in some meaningful way, it's very daunting and it's damaging to us, to our psyche, right?
Yes.
So for the rest of the world, not being able to leave your house, that is how our conditions and the mefloquine poisoning and the PTSD and all that anxiety and fear that is stuck in us.
Yeah.
It isn't something that we choose to do. We have these conditions because we volunteered to live a lifestyle to protect others.
Yeah.
And this is the consequence of it.
To serve.
Yeah, to serve, right?
Yeah.
Airborne's mantra was "My life for you," right?
Yeah.
Deeds, not words. And then the other one that's coming up right now more often is the Canadian Armed Forces never outfought. Undermanned, under-equipped, underfunded, all that stuff, but never outfought.
Yeah.
And right now, you're still fighting. You're still doing that. And where I'm trying to go with this is that if you suffered during the lockdown, that is a taste of what we do every day. So please be more receptive to when you see people with service dogs, or you see these big bearded, scraggly looking weirdos.
10 chances to 1 they're a veteran.
Yeah,
right.
And just give them some space. Okay, don't get up in their face. You don't always have to thank us for a service either. Kind of makes me feel awkward when people do it.
It does, because in some ways I don't think we feel we deserve it.
No.
Right? So it kind of takes us back, kind of.
Yeah,
it's
a meaningful trigger. It's a meaningful moment for those people and kind of a trigger for us. But if it makes them feel better, then I just smile and, yeah, you're welcome. And I laugh it off because I'm like, hey, I got free socks and underwear.
Yeah.
That's it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I was blown away. I was getting free socks and underwear. I served. I got free socks and underwear. You're good.
Yeah.
You know. So, with your tour, you've literally gone coast to coast.
Coast to coast to coast.
Coast.
3 coasts.
3 coasts. And you're not done yet. You've got some big things planned for you and Spark with the motorcycle.
Yeah, you know, I've been driving back and forth in the truck and rental cars, flying back and forth, and then the goal was to do a bike rally, right, for mefloquine in Ottawa. I was still going about it. I had a bike, but it was in Newfoundland, couldn't get it. So then in February, just before the lockdown, I went out. I went into this. So I went to a Navy. They had like a career fair, not career fair, but a thing at the gym in CFB Esquimalt.
Yep.
And had a look at all the things and some fantastic places, like for helping individuals, like health and wellness exhibition kind of, right? But there was a Harley Davidson thing there, so I went and talked to Buddy and then said, all right, well, I got another errand to run. Yeah. But I'm gonna go over to your store and I'm gonna go look for a bike.
Okay.
So he goes, okay, I might be back then. So anyways, as it worked out, we ended up back together at the Harley Davidson. And I looked at 3 road glides. Pointed my finger at the most expensive one, I think. Of course, right?
It's Mike.
It was sorry, Spark. It was a custom build. So it had like an upgraded stereo system, everything. And I went with the Road Glide Ultra just to go with the, I wanted the comfort, right? I needed the comfort. I still got to change out the seat because I got a broken femur, and I broke my femur right at the hip. Okay. And then I got a IM nail, and so that causes me some discomfort and stuff, and that. So yeah, so I looked at the bike. Okay, I'll take that one. They did the paperwork within a half an hour. Said okay. Signed the document. I said, oh, geez, I should at least sit on the bike once. Yeah. So I went and sat on the bike, got in my truck, and drove to the ferry, and took the ferry to Vancouver and left my bike behind. That was it. Half an hour, signed the papers, gone, didn't see the bike, and as I'm on the ferry, I'm thinking, man, I want to go back and see my bike, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But so anyways, that was like at the end of February. I went and I did a mental health first aid course. Okay. With Saskatchewan Legion Command in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. Went down there and just seen everything starting to collapse around, right? Things shutting down. And then said, okay, I can't take the chance of being locked up in another, or at somebody's house. Like, hey, sorry, Nate, I'm here to stay for 2 weeks. I hope you don't mind, right? Or I'm here for 2 months, right? So that was my my fear. So I went back to Edmonton and I stuck it out there and was trying to get through it. And then my bike is there, right? So anyways, I planned to go back, right? So I drove straight to the ferry. Another guy came with me, Greg Gerard, and we went there to went to Victoria, picked up the bike. I drove the bike from the ferry, or from the dealership to the ferry. Okay. Say 60 or 70K or something like that, maybe, or maybe 100. That was it. And then when we got to the ferry, because he was going to go stay at his buddies, and I was going to my buddies, so he took my bike and I took the truck because I couldn't take Spark. So he drove it to his buddies, and then the next morning we met at a Harley Davidson at Barnes Harley Davidson in Langley. Okay. Loaded the bike up then because I didn't want to take a chance of, because that, if there was a snowstorm or on the Coquihalla, so I didn't want to have to deal with any issues. So we just loaded the bike up. That
is the highway through hell that he's referring to, and that's why he didn't want to take it up there. And my dad lives at the bottom of that, and he sees that stuff all the time.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah,
Yep.
it is a bad highway.
Yeah, so anyways, took it back, dropped Greg off out by Calgary, went back to Beaumont, unloaded my bike, didn't realize because it had an alarm, so it killed the battery.
Yeah.
I had it in the back, right? I never put it into limp mode or whatever,
Yeah.
so had to deal with that. And then all I did, I rode my bike once for 150K,
Okay.
kind of for about an hour and a half, and then I'm like, too much. I can't be apart from Spark, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not going to ride it then, right? So I'm like, I got to find a sidecar. A sidecar. So found a sidecar outside Edmonton with this guy named Jim.
Okay.
Went out and seen him, bought the sidecar. Him and another guy, Bruce, worked on. So they said, oh, we can mount it for you. I said, okay, yep, that'd be great, perfect, right? So and because it was a brand new 2020 Harley Davidson Road Glide,
Yeah.
they didn't want to weld the pieces onto the bike, right? Which is what you would have had to do.
Yeah.
So they manufactured all the parts so I could take it off of my Road Glide and put it on another one.
No problem.
No problem, right?
Okay.
So got that, then I actually put about 5,000K on my bike this summer-ish,
Nice.
right? Hard to believe when, because I didn't do any long treks, but it was just kind of in Alberta and stuff, and then it's okay. Now I got to get my bike ready. I got to get it, because so many times I'd be driving riding the bike, and cars are driving by with their cameras out, right, going by, and I'm like, every time I'd see that, it was like a missed opportunity to spread the word, right? So then I tried to look to how to get my bike done. So I looked to a place to put a wrap on it.
Yeah.
But then, in order to put the wrap on it, I had to get the rust fixed. So then I had to find like on the sidecar.
Yeah.
So then I went to an auto body place to see about getting that fixed. They said it'd take about 3 weeks, because I work like on a compressed time frame, because I can't, most of the time I'm not planning outside 2 weeks. So
Exactly.
I'm trying to, by the time my mind's on it, I only got 2 weeks to plan it, kind of, right? But so, multiple kind of few delays here and there. But anyways, so the 3 weeks, I said, okay, I can't do that. I can't wait 3 weeks and then have to wait to get the wrap. And I wanted to ride across, so I was waiting for the bubble to open here in Atlanta, Canada. So then, whatever, I went to another guy that does hydro dipping.
Okay.
Because I had, the year before, I got a $500 gift certificate.
Oh, nice.
That I bid on to raise money for Can Praxis.
Okay.
So I took the gift certificate, and I thought at least I'd get my helmet done, because I didn't know what I would get done with the bike. And then Stacy Bowles was talking. He owns Custom Toys, and so we're talking. Then he said, "Oh no, I'll repair the rust. I'll fix the sidecar up. We'll put the hydro dip it this way, that way." And I'm like, "All right, let's go with it, right?" Then I wanted it first at the end of August. Then it was September 19th for the rally. Then it was like, I'm not going to the rally, I'm going to the rally, I'm not going to the rally. So anyways, the bike is still at his place. It's almost complete. And then last night I decided, I started another thing going. So then it's, I want to put more names on it, right?
Yes.
So so I called up buddy Stacy with Custom Toys, and we talked again and said, okay, the 2 saddlebags now, the outside and the inside one, right? We'll dip, because I only dip the covers and not the sides. Yeah. So now we'll do the sides, and we'll put more names, right?
And your goal with this is to ride this in big rallies in the States and in Canada, right?
Yeah, so, you know, so I got that done, but I still don't have, I also got to make it so that Spark's comfortable, right? Because
Yes.
I'm not riding in the rain with her.
No.
So I've talked to a fellow veteran, Scott Harrington.
Okay.
So I spoke to him last night as well,
Good.
right? And it's to outfit the bike. So he's got a, what's the name of it now? Banshee Custom Chop Shop,
Okay.
right? So he's gonna fix the bike. So either like put a bimini top on the sidecar, so Spark A has shade,
Yeah.
or to protect from the rain,
Yeah.
and then maybe put just snap on side skirts, like if it's
Okay.
raining,
Yeah, yeah.
right, to keep her dry, and I'll go from there, right?
Perfect.
I'm just
Yeah, we're almost done.
because we I don't want to go off anymore. It throws me off. Yeah, so he's gonna fix it all up,
Okay.
right, and get it ready to ride. So when I leave Atlantic Canada, I'll head back to Alberta, pick up my bike, take it to Scott,
Yeah.
drop it off with him for the spring, for the winter, kind of,
Yeah.
and he can get it ready for the ride. And then I've already booked for the southern route with the run for the wall.
Okay.
You know, COVID's everywhere, everything's going on, but you know what? I can't live like that. I can't live in fear, if you would.
Yes.
And I gotta push forward. I've successfully gone down to the States, to Washington D.C. for 5 days all on my own. Me and
Good.
Spark back
Good
in
for you.
January. So, you know, and because they'll have their organized stops, so then I can plan my hotels or wherever I'm staying. I can do that as well. And so we'll head down there at the end of April or beginning of May. I got to look at all the dates.
Okay.
But so then that'll give me kind of the winter to plan for that ride and to organize my what I need
Yeah,
in
your
order
background
to
logistics, yeah.
in order to do the trip. So I'll go down to Ontario, California, and start from there and do the southern route, trying to grab another guy to get him to join along the way, and that's Ray Taylor.
Oh, okay.
He's in Texas,
Yes.
right? So he's got a bike, so, or at least, so I took the southern route, so it goes through Texas, so if anything, he can come and meet me, right?
Exactly. I have a few people that would probably come out to see in Texas because, hello, Texas.
Yeah.
It's the Alberta of the States.
Yeah, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna ride across with the run for the wall. I want to do the, if they do the Rolling Thunder, you get to be one of the first 10,000, I
Okay,
understand. Something like that, but yeah, so I want to do that, and then my plan will be then, well, I want to go to a couple things in DC. I'll probably go back to Arlington Cemetery. I was there in January. I spent like 8 hours walking around and taking it all in, and
It's a lot to take.
you can you feel so much, right? It's so I'd like to go back there probably. I'd like to go see the Holocaust Museum, right? Actually, and then there's Mike Mahalik is up in New York City,
Okay.
or around there on Long Island, somewhere in that area, right? So I'll probably try to see him if he doesn't end up coming down, right,
Okay.
to DC. But then I want to go to White River Junction, Vermont, to actually get to see Dr. Nevins, where their practices and everything,
Okay.
and then come back into the bubble or go into Ontario or whatever and do my self-isolation, and then my goal is so I'll hang out on the East Coast,
Okay.
next summer. So from June until August.
Okay.
And then I'm going to ride back with the Rolling Barrage
Okay.
on their, so they have their set stops, and I'm going to ride the whole route back with them.
Good.
Back to BC, and then, so that's my whole year. So then, on the bike while I'm out here from June until, I think, around the 18th of August is when the Rolling Barrage goes west.
Okay.
So I'll have that time to, do events in Atlantic Canada, Quebec, Ontario, depending, if the bubble is still closed,
Yeah.
I'll come in, self-isolate, and then I'll stick around and then only exit with the Rolling Barrage.
Okay. And hopefully the world by that point will be back.
It'll be a different place.
Yeah. It will be different, but hopefully it'll be more functional.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all we can really hope for.
Yeah.
Mike, I'm not gonna lie, I'm just super happy that we got to talk. And as I said in the beginning, I do truly think of you as a badass because you were one of the giants that I stood up on to get where I got in my career, be it as far as it wasn't. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today for VTSR. I appreciate immensely what you're trying to do, and we're going to tap into our resources here. I know JP, as he's watching this, he's already making plans to support you and to help you. Where can people find you?
So I'm on Facebook, the Rude Awakening Tour. I have a page. You can send me a friend request, Mike Rude, on Facebook. I accept all friend requests.
Okay.
Right. I'm on Instagram, the Rude Awakening Tour.
Perfect.
I'm on Twitter. I gotta remember my password.
If you're out there and you're struggling, whatever you do, just remember, reach out to someone. Don't go on patrol by yourself. Always take a buddy with you, and do not, I say again, do not cash out. Take it away, Nate.
Thank you to our main sponsors, Nous Group LLC, Uptown Auto Glass.
Dad asked, you have a plan? He said, I do. Gonna go protect this land. This song is for you.